Hello, J Africa's Last Dance, where we're getting from the head to the heart. Okay, this is what we need to do. Okay, like I say, I don't mean to bum anybody out, but I don't see anybody getting into the fifth dimension that doesn't do a little bit of work in this area here. All right, the normal 3D egoic consciousness isn't going to be vibrating at the rate that is going to be necessary to slip into the fifth dimension. So this is a channel that's important, and getting that done here. You're going to watch me do it, and you're going to take a look, and you're going to eventually say, yeah, I better get a little bit busy here. And we want to make it so it's not so much work. We want to make it so it's fun. It's not enough that we do these things. Just do them and have a heaviness about it. We have to learn how to do them with love and joy and purpose and intent, and enjoy the process. You know, that's as important as anything. That's as important as doing the stuff, is doing it joyfully, enjoying doing it. That's what I've learned how to do. Yesterday morning, this is good. Well, here, first of all, I am open and am receiving magnificent gifts and abundances from the universe. I am open and I am receiving magnificent gifts and abundance from the universe. I am open and I am receiving magnificent gifts and abundances from the universe. I am open and I am receiving magnificent gifts and abundances from the universe. Okay, there's several different ways to say that affirmation. The latter, we're a little bit more heart-centered. Do you feel the difference? Like I've told you before, doing affirmations, I do them less, but I do them with heart resonance. I do them as if the voice is coming out of my heart. Okay, and it's a more powerful way of doing it. And you can feel, as your hand is on that chest, you can feel that heart resonance in that affirmation. I do them less, but I'm doing more powerfully. Okay, that's my latest affirmation. Getting a lot of ideas that a lot of abundance is coming my way. Could be spiritual abundance too. We'll see. But in line with that, yesterday, okay, up, stretch, meditate. Okay, out for a swim, beautiful swim. Like I say, a swim is an act of love these days, almost for me. As I start slow, work into a medium speed, then I finish up high, almost 97% effort, intent. And that's, so about 4 or 5 minutes, I'm doing that high end stuff, and that's all you really need. And then I went to get a little bit of, so it's a beautiful, beautiful exercise. And swimming too, you're in fluid water. It's not that you're pounding on the earth, you're in water. That's what always attracted me to swimming. You're in fluidity, and you're guiding along, and you can make it intense or less intense or whatever it is you want to do for the day. Some days are more intense than others, but the whole idea of just flowing into it, starting off slow and easy and breezy, and letting it increase in tempo, then increase again in tempo, then hit that high level bingo on all 4 cylinders, motoring through that water. All right, you got it? Then I went to coffee, got coffee and grounded at a park. Now, while I was in this park, this wonderful, wonderful presence came over me, and it was such a peaceful, luscious place I was in, and it was just beautiful. And it happens to me not very often, but it's happened to me more and more, and it was very distinct yesterday morning. And I could have stood there all day. It was just so wonderful to be there, and I was glad to be alive. Do you know how many times I've been glad to be alive in those 4 decades of pain I went through from 20 to 50 something? I could count them on one hand. Okay, but yesterday in that park, I was glad to be part of this. I was glad to be alive, and it's a rare thing that I felt, and it was just like, wow, this is where I want to go. Now at that point, then we express great gratitude. We express gratitude to all the beings around, including Mother Earth and the divine beings and the angels. great gratitude, and I want more of that. And that's just the beginning. And that's what we're working for. It's a beingness thing. That's what we're working toward. And then you develop that beingness and that way, that beautiful experiential texture. And then from that, then you take off into humanity. You want to, at that point yesterday, I want to help humanity. I want to do something. And that was always my contention with God. I go, God, what do you want me to do? I'm lost. I'm in such a deep hole that I when I hear people dying, I go, oh God, that lucky bastard, he died, now he's gone. What good am I going to do to people in that state? Nothing. I have to be in a proper state to want to reach out and to do something for humanity, right? Right. Okay, we're on social illusion complex. Okay, and we're going to hit sports right now. This is as a review. We've done this, but we're going to hit it really, really quickly and understand that. Look, at the social illusion complex, it informs you of what's important. Okay, it takes you, as we come as spiritual beings, we hit into this world, we get born, and we start to grow up. The social illusion complex tells you, informs you what's important. Okay, and that's it just grabs you by the neck and says, look, this is what you're going to focus on. This is how things are. This is what's important, and this is what's going to be important to you. So it infects you. It infects you with its dictates and its conventions, and it really shatters and schisms your otherwise it would be interesting to know what kind of development we would have without that social illusion complex bearing down on us. But then we conform to the social illusion complex. Okay, sports is one of them. Sports can be fun, and there's inherently nothing wrong with sports in a way. We've just made it too much. We've gone nuts with it, like we've gone nuts with celebrityism, or go nuts with profit making. We've gone nuts with the sports also. Okay, seriously. So it's become a distraction, especially at this most important time when we have some important things to do as a member of humanity and the progress of historical humanity. We have so many important things to do right now, and sports is simply a distraction, keeps us distracted. For my life, a lot of times I went out to play tennis because I didn't know what else to do, really. I wanted to escape what else I had to do, but it's a distraction. It can be a distraction if you don't do it properly, that's all it is. It's just a big distraction. We've gone over that there's no intrinsic meaning. There's no cosmic meaning in being number one or winning. Okay, we've made too much of it. It's a temporary egoic thrill ride, but there's no real meaning in the largest sense in being number one or winning. Okay, there isn't. We've made way too much of it, and it's just a major issue now. There are lots of minor lessons. There are lots of minor lessons you can learn in the sporting arena. And valuable lessons, and that's what, in a way, that's what the 3D reality, illusion reality is all about. Is us come down here and to be able to learn things we're not going to be able to learn in the finer realities that we have waiting for us. Okay, in this hardcore reality, and this is one of the things where we can learn how to build character. We can learn how to win. We can learn how to take a loss. We can learn the camaraderie that develops in sports and the brotherliness that we wouldn't normally feel in this 3D world. Anyway, in just normal everyday going about business in our distracted, separated individual egoic mind state, which is very unexciting, really. So sports kind of brings us out of that, and in that sense, there are a lot of little lessons you can learn. I told you about the lesson of me hating tennis and being at the crunch moments and learning how to move through that. Learning how to love that rather than hate that, So that was a very important lesson for me to learn. It brought my vibration up, learning how to enjoy something that I kind of hated because it was such a pressure-packed thing, and I couldn't play. All of a sudden, I was tight and I couldn't play. I worked through that, and that's a valuable lesson to learn. And you can only learn that here in this 3D world. We're not going to be able to learn that in that way in the 5D world and above. So we've just made simply too much of it. NFL coaches, I told you, 5 in the morning till 1 in the morning, 5 in the morning, or 12 or 11 at night, whatever, and they do that during the season, all in the name of getting that trophy, being number one, and it becomes, it's silly. They have, these coaches are married, they have children. And they're spending that kind of time. And then 6 months, the season, it's roughly 6 months, that's the level of that's what, if you want to know how persistent and how powerful these illusions are, that's it right there. That the NFL coach is working that level, that amount, wanting to become the winner, the number one team. The Lombardi Trophy. I think that's the epitome of success here in this life. That's it right there. That someone's willing to do something like that to the exclusion of everything else, including growing as a spiritual human being. That's what's being denied here when you look at coaches like that. We can consider sports as a valid, in this 3D world anyway, as a valid measure for our youth to get involved in, and all societies all along the way in this 3D world have had ways of having their youth develop into manhood and have had tests. Indians have done it, tests from boyhood to manhood. Okay, as you go through these tests, then you become more of a man. There can be that said to our youth, and that's the value of it. It keeps a lot of youth out of trouble. Other than that, it kept me out of trouble swimming and water polo. Hanging around, I had enough trouble as it was, but it just keeps you busy and keeps you busy on something that's relatively to the good, a good activity, and it keeps you from loitering around and getting into trouble. So that field of battle thing is valid in that sense. It is teach you confidence. Like I say, give you confidence to learn how to do that better and better. But we just simply made too much of it. There are 6, 7, 8, 9 sports shows here on American television. There's that many sports shows devoted completely to sports, day in and day out, every single day, every hour of the day. Now that's just too much. NFL channel, a whole channel developed to the National Football League. The day after the Super Bowl, which is the big finale, you figure, okay, let's go home. The Super Bowl, let's analyze the Super Bowl, and let's all go home for 3 months, take a break. But no, they keep going. What are they talking about? When there's no football going on at that point, you know what I mean? So that's the level of foolishness that we've allowed sports to become. It's a superiority game too. That's what it's all about. The winners feel a little bit more superior, than the losers, and feeling superior in that sense is ego's way of making up for our inner lackingness in our egoic mind state. Our insecurities and fears and smallnesses, emptinesses, uselessness that we feel in this world. That's a counterweight to it. That's the ego's way of doing it. We can feel superior if we beat them. We're the champions and we're a little bit better than everybody else. That's the ego way of remedying the state that we're in that isn't really all that great. It's an emotionally involved drama and thrill. We get emotionally involved in this drama, and it's a thrill ride, okay? It keeps us from our basic human consciousness that isn't all that great. It keeps us from having to realize that the consciousness, the egoic mind consciousness that we have going on in this 3D world is not a good place to be. And that thrill ride it distracts us from ever having to face that straight up, okay? The thrill keeps us from having to face that full on. Chasing win after win after win in this 3D world seems like it's something to do. He's the winningest coach, or he's the winningest basketball player, or he won and 3 champion, whatever that is. Constantly chasing wins like that is a waste of time, just the same as constantly going after profit. constantly ever making more money, they're all a waste of time, because it's not allowing us to do the spiritual work we need to do right now. Okay, it's taking our eye off the ball as we get overly involved in these dramatic thrill rides, and we step away from the historical movement of humanity and our part in it right now, which is spiritual development. You got that? Competition too is based on separateness, okay, egoic separateness, and the victor and the vanquished. It's a game of that works in this separated, as we consider ourselves as separated individuals. Competition works in that framework. It's not going to work as we get into the fifth dimension. There will be sports and there will be fun things to do, but it's going to be based on something completely different than this egoic thrill ride that we have down here for it. All right? It's like a controlled warfare. Sports is on the field. It's like controlled warfare, and you develop with your teammates bonds, just as in war. You know, one of those gross things we can think of to do. The participants develop bonds that you cannot develop in regular society, you know, as we are staying in our low vibrational individual separated state. The pressure, the intensity of that war, of a war, or less so in a competitive field, bonds us together in a way that we can't otherwise, are hard pressed to bond together. The idea of us facing all together a situation that we have to overcome. Okay, that's not going to be true of the 5D world. We're going to naturally become more unity consciousness, okay? Love-based unity consciousness, okay? That's what it is going to be about. And we've taken psychedelics. We've been in love-based unity consciousness. And you don't need sports or that kind of compacted, condensed reality to develop bonds for one another. I've developed friendships with people in sports, and it is, you don't feel that off the field. You know, it's hard to get there in this state that we're in now, in this lower vibrational separated state, okay? And they have sports betting. They're watching a tennis thing, and they have a sports betting, you know, so you have to throw down money as an additional aspect of the thrill ride. You know what I mean? Getting money on it. It is everywhere now, sports betting. And like I say, America is one big machine that wants constantly to keep you outwardly focused on this social illusion complex. All right? It comes up with all these ways of getting that done, okay? And it keeps you away from what we have to do now, okay? That's what the complex is all about, keeping us focused outward, keeping us focused on things that are distractions, essentially distractions, and now there's betting all over the place. You know, that didn't used to happen. You know what I mean? In the 70s, you know, that didn't used to happen. But now it's like gambling on sports is like all over the place. One of the things about sports is on a field, it's like physical artwork. Okay, it's like working at that high end level. They don't know that it doesn't matter who wins that game. So you see some excellence in physical excellence, and that's what I find intriguing when you get to the highest expressions of the sport. And it is, you know, it's like artwork. You know, it's like a form of art to watch a physical contest, and you know, so there's that. You know, there's that, and it is. It is beauty sometimes in these things. I've seen some beautiful things done on fields that you wouldn't normally otherwise see. When you watch, we went over the World Cup sketches, World Cup, the Women's World Cup at the time, the soccer Women's World Cup. You look at the fans, and they look like they're more alive than ever. You know, as they're into their team and they're wanting their team to win, their eyes are bugging out, and they look like they're having a good time and more alive than they have ever been, you know, in other situations in life. But it's a foolish high. It's like a gambler's high. Gamblers don't care about money. They care about the high they get when they're gambling. Okay, that's what the gamblers like. That's what they get addicted to gambling for. It's a form of addiction, and hypnotization. As you watch these fans in the stands of the World Cup, Women's World Cup that I saw, they're addicted. They're like hypnotized and addicted to the goings on the field, and it seems like it's alive, but it's like a gambler. It's like a gambler. You know, you could point to the gambler and say, "God, he's alive right now," but he's not alive. He's rushing with this energy that's going through too small of a hole, consciousness hole. And it takes him out of his normal depressed state, because we all are in somewhat of a depressed state, although we wouldn't call it that. In normal human consciousness, we're all depressed in a way. And when we get into these highs, we seem like they're more alive. I've been through that. Most of you have had a team and been through that reality. And it seems like we're more alive, but we're really not. It's just a foolish thing to get too overly invested in. Willie Sutton, a bank robber, early 1900s, made the statement of the only time in life he ever felt alive was robbing a bank. All right, that's what he said. Other than that, life was almost, just like I'm trying to explain to you, a kind of a low vibe, depressed way in this 3D world. But when he was in the excitement of robbing a bank, that's the only time he felt alive. So that's why he was a bank robber, not because of the money, because he felt alive. You know, now there are other ways, as we learn in this time now, there are much better ways to feel alive. And you want to know alive? Yesterday in the park. Okay, that was alive. Okay, aliveness isn't only grabbing life by the horns and exercising your will and getting what you want to happen, and that is part of it. That is definitely part of it. But aliveness is also a being thing. What I was experiencing in the park yesterday was a being aliveness, where it was valuable. It was rich. It had all. That's my idea of abundance. Okay, that's my idea of abundance. That feeling in the park yesterday. That's what abundance is to me. All right, and that's what life is too. Learning how to appreciate the trees, learning how to appreciate everything around you. That's an intimacy, a form of aliveness. Aliveness that's different than the forcing, overcoming life and being, making your vision, and even in low vibrational in a constructive sense, and overcoming nature, grabbing life by the horns and working your will on it. That's alive too. But we're missing the beingness, the intimacy, aliveness. That's what I've been after. Okay, as much more than anything else. Sports is also a lesson in conditional love. All right, they love you when you're performing for them and winning. The minute that doesn't happen, they don't love you so much anymore. Okay, I even in my position, I felt that before. Like I was saying, some player I loved is in the end zone, throw a perfect ball, no one even around him. He drops that ball and they're bounced out of the playoffs. You go, that son of a bitch. And that's somebody you loved yesterday or the day before. The fans turn really, really quickly as long as you perform and they love you. But if you start to not perform and lose them games, they don't love you anymore. Trust me. Let me see. Lesson not to acted by the moment. And then women in sports. We went through that, and I think women should be able to play sports, and it's fine. But here's another example: the social illusion complex. The complex doesn't really value yin. Beautiful yin energies in America, especially. It values yang energies. It values yang power and doingness and physicality and the physical world, the material world. Okay, so women in sports, we have a bunch of women now wanting to do what men do and wanting to kick ass on a field, which is yang activity, and I enjoy watching women's sports. Hell, I'd rather watch women's tennis these days than men's tennis for some reason. But They are that way because they're following in line with our social illusion complex these days, which tells us that that's what's important, winning on a field, being number one. Okay, that's why women are doing what they're doing, and so this whole movement of women's liberation now has them doing things that would be better balanced with the yin growth that we need to see out of our women, and indeed out of our men too. From what I can get it, we have to even men have to develop the feminine side of themselves as we bring that feminine yin energy up to balance the yang energy of the over yang way we do things, especially in America, and it is unfortunate that is what's happening. They do that because this is what society values. Okay, they think they're doing it because that's what they want, but not really. They're doing it because society tells them to do it. They're falling in line with the social illusion complex, as they've been given the okay to run around on a field and kick a ball around. And they think that's the everything. That's the all and the everything, and it can be some parts of it, but we don't need our women getting overly involved in that. We need women with yin energy bring that to the fore, and the beautiful and the beauty of yin energy, and the sensitivity and the grace of yin energy. We don't need our women kicking each other's asses on a court or a field as much as they think we need to. Okay, so that's as we take a look at sports. That's what the review of it, and it has it can be a fun game. There will be some sports ideas of sports in the fifth dimension, but simply not this, where it becomes the all and everything which sports has become here. Okay, we're getting along then on these. Now, why? Well, here, this is a channel of the heart. Why are we going through this? Because these things are in our heads. Okay, where our heart isn't fooled by these things. All these things that I've just explained. This is one aspect of sports, money, celebrityism. They're all things that keep us fascinated in our minds, keep us glued to our minds, and keep us out of a heart-centered approach to life that is a much more luscious, grand, rich, luxurious way of facing life and apprehending life. We are magnetized to our minds, attention in our minds, as we have been infected by this social illusion complex, all right, that has this overdoing celebrityism, which is an illusion. There is no such thing as celebrityism. Profit making, making too much profit, or always thinking how to make more money. Sports, always winning, being number one, being the best, being the champ, being the victor as we vanquish, and when we're better than the people we vanquish, that whole thing. Let's end that right there. We have a couple more of these to do. Then we're going to get into some interesting things I have coming up. So, but that's the review of the sports issue. We're going to get into what. Then we have competitive. We compete over everything. Okay, I did a review on societal competitiveness. We're going to review that, a couple other things, and then we'll be Jake. I want to do 4 or 5 videos and then do 2 reviews. 4 or 5, 2 reviews. So I've got a little bit behind here. So bear with me. I hope you're enjoying them. It all pays us to review and to get more locked in our head the sillinesses of what we have going on, especially with the social illusion complex that dictates to us what's important and what we should be focusing on, other than what we normally would have done if we would have had that influence and we had good parents who had good balance. We would become totally different people. I'm the same. For me, as a person who loves being in water, who is a waterman, in here it becomes a big sporting thing. Water polo swimming. In the fifth dimension, it's going to be something else. Okay, and it's going to be beautiful up there too. I can't wait to see what kind of waters, and then we'll be able to swim more often in non-chlorinated water, which isn't particularly good for you. My name is Jeff Africa, citizen of Earth, loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I stand unafraid. And these 4, Mother Earth, Divine Mother, Paramatsu Yogananda, Joshua Ben Joseph, they are on my team. They are my tribe. We're going to, all of us, including Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, they're in there too. We are going to get me to become a heart-centered human being, just like I experienced partially, and there's more of that coming in the park yesterday, okay? That's what I'm after. That's what I want. And I don't want to have to work my ass off to get it, because I've experienced, I'll tell you some of the time, we're running out of time. I just want to be there forever for good. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to get us there. Is we're going to get me